Hello and welcome to The Big Fight. Well, you know, if you've been watching the new government in India, one thing which you can't fail to miss is the extent to which, starting of course with the Prime Minister, the comfort in Hindi and the fact that Hindi is increasingly the language that is being used in speeches, in addresses, and in everything else. And that's once again brought to the fore a very interesting question, which we're going to spend an hour doing. The entire debate about Hindi as a national language, what is the position of English, and are we now having, with the new government and going forward, a resurgence of Hindi as the prominent and the predominant language of India, which perhaps we should focus more attention towards. We've had a long period of time where English has been seen as A, aspirational, and B, the language that you really need to connect with to fit in well with a globalized world. Is that still the case, or is Hindi really going to become increasingly a dominant language? So that's what we're going to discuss today at some detail, and we have a range of the top experts in the field with different points of view. So let me start off by welcoming Madhukar Jaitley, who's advisor externally aided projects department of the government of Uttar Pradesh. The government of UP and the Samajwadi Party in particular earlier has often believed that Hindi really is something that should be encouraged, which should be lent on, which should be developed very strongly. Standing next to him, somebody with a totally different viewpoint, Mr. Gnani Sankaran, who's one of the most respected journalists from Chennai. It's great to have you with us. Tamil Nadu in particular, I think, throughout the history of India and independent India in particular, Tamil Nadu has been that one state which has said we should not have too much of Hindi. And then our old friend Kancha Elaya, well, old in the sense you've been on The Big Fight many times, sir, no other way. Professor Kancha Elaya is an old friend of ours here at the Big Fight, who's has a different take actually on English. He views that as a way of emancipation, especially for the Dalits and others. So we'll be getting your views in very shortly. We have with us Chitra Mudgal, who's a writer, totally supports Hindi and feels that Hindi must get its prominence. We have Abha Sehgal with us, who's a principal at the Sanskriti School, and we'll get your sense of what children these days are really wanting to pick up. And we have Manish Sabharwal, CEO of Team Lease, who will also be able to tell us about corporate India and whether it's good to have English as your predominant language, because that's what helps you get much better jobs, especially if you are aspiring to be in suits and things like that. So, Manish, thanks a lot for being with us as well. Let me start with you, Madhukarji, whether Hindi should be encouraged at the costs of all other languages, especially English.
You see, let me tell you, Vikram, the Constitution of India in 1950 passed a resolution saying that the Devanagari language is the official language of the Indian official language of the Indian government, which was later on, English was only extended as the language to be used in India for 15 years initially, until the Parliament did not decide otherwise. So therefore, when in the early 60s, before the 15 years came to an end, in 1964, there was a protest from the 4 states, primarily the southern states of the country, that since after that, the Official Languages Act was passed by the Parliament in 1963. And then it was later on official provision was made for the Department of Official Languages in the Government of India, which allowed the Parliament to function in 2 languages, primarily the Hindi and the English. As you said, the official position remains as on date.
Yeah. But
the Constitution also said that in all the states of the country, they have the authority, they have the right to use. They don't have to stick to this language, whether they are going to be doing work in Hindi or in English. They can do that.
My fundamental point still remains, why change something that seems to be working well? I'm not saying there's actually a plan to change things. It's just that we're hearing a lot more Hindi now. A lot of people are again beginning to feel that Hindi is going to rise. Why change something that seems to be working well?
In all these states, every state, like there are 22 states in India, who have their own regional languages in which these state assemblies are doing work, like in Tamil Nadu, in Gujarat, our newly elected government is doing. The recent former Chief Minister and the Prime Minister designate went to offer his resignation in the Gujarat Assembly, and he spoke in Gujarati.
Okay.
So therefore, Hindi, we come from the Hindi heartland. We come from the area where we go to demand all the communications which are done with the common people in Hindi. So therefore, Hindi and as well as the other regional languages have an equal level playing field in the state of India.
So the way it's working, is that fine? Let me turn to you now, sir. I think the crucial point when it came to Hindi, earlier and in the 50s and 60s when this became a very major issue, I think in places like Tamil Nadu in particular and other places, the real objection was the imposition of Hindi by force and in a sense a disadvantaging of southern states which are not that comfortable with Hindi as let's say Uttar Pradesh is or some of the other states are. But through a slow process of assimilation now, over these years, nothing is being done forcibly, but just by virtue of the influence of Hindi films and Hindi soaps and things like that, are you not starting to find a greater acceptance of Hindi even in the southern parts of the country? Maybe not Tamil Nadu so much, but if you go to Hyderabad, for example, you go to Bangalore, quite often if you meet somebody on the road, you may speak to them in Hindi as opposed to English.
No, in fact, you have to understand something differently. Opposition to imposition of Hindi has been there pre-independence. It is wrong.
1937 it started.
Yeah,
yes.
it is 1937
there was a
itself.
big movement.
It
Yes.
is not post-independence.
Right.
So even before independence, the large umbrella movement of Congress very correctly recognized that India is a country of different nationalities. It recognized different linguistic nationalities exist in this country and a federal polity has to be created. It was very well recognized before 47. But when the constitution was framed, this federalism was given a go by. As far as Hindi is concerned, in Tamil Nadu we have always opposed imposition of Hindi, but never opposed anybody learning any language of their choice. In fact, in South India, in Karnataka, Kerala and Andhra, there are no two-language official policy. There is a three-language official policy. Only in Tamil Nadu it is two-language official policy, which goes mother tongue first, English second, and any other language of your choice next. So this is the policy in Tamil Nadu.
But
so
I'm
we are
asking you-
saying,
I'm
and
asking
also
you-
we are also opposed to this usage of this word, calling our language a regional language. For that matter, all languages in India, including Hindi, are regional languages. Hindi belongs to one region, Marathi belongs to another region, Bangla belongs to another region. India is a country of regions. So all these have to be properly called only as national languages. That is what
Okay.
our constitution says. It says all the 22 languages
Right.
are national languages.
Okay,
And
Chitraji, let me
Hindi
get-
is only an official language and English is an associate official language as long as people of non-Hindi speaking states want that to continue.
Okay.
That is the
Chitra-
constitutional position.
Chitra ji,
जो कुछ बातें अभी हमारे तमिलनाडु के भाई ने कही यहाँ पर वो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। आज़ादी के पहले और आज़ादी के बाद भी ये विरोध हुआ कि हम पर हिंदी थोपी न जाए और उसके लिए 15 साल जेट्टी जी ने जैसा कहा 15 साल का वक्त दिया
அவங்க என்ன பேசிட்டு இருக்காங்கன்னு எனக்கு தெரியல. இப்ப அவங்க என்ன பேசிட்டு இருக்காங்கன்னு எனக்கு தெரியாம நான் எப்படி அவங்க பேசிட்டு இருக்கிறது நான் பதில் சொல்ல முடியும்? எனக்கு தெரியாத ஒரு மொழியில அவங்க பேசிட்டு இருக்காங்க. அவங்களுக்கு தெரியாத ஒரு மொழியில நான் பேசிட்டு இருக்கேன். இப்ப நான் என்னுடைய மொழியில தான் இங்க பேசுறது முடிவு பண்ணேன்னா இந்த நிகழ்ச்சியை தொடர்ந்து நான் தமிழ்ல பேசுறேன், அவங்க ஹிந்தில பேசிட்டோம், நம்ம தாராளமா நிகழ்ச்சி நடத்தலாம். Let me submit up for you in English. If she goes to speak on in a language which I don't understand, and if I can speak in a language which she can't understand, this program cannot go on.
मैं आपको ये बताना चाहती हूँ कि मैं तमिलनाडु में जन्मी हूँ, मैं चेन्नई में जन्मी हूँ, वड़क्कम से लेके बहुत कुछ मैंने सीखा है, लेकिन एक देश की अखंडता और उसमें
just saying vanakkam is not the issue. I can also say dhanyavad, I can also say
I am
namaskar.
from UP, but
The whole thing will be a mess. If I start,
so
Yeah,
the
I can
point,
speak in
okay,
Tamil.
okay, hang on.
no, I don't accept this.
Okay, so can I?
you know,
I
Okay, hang
need
on,
to
hang
know
on. Can
what
I-
is being spoken.
Can I, for the sake of this argument, this debate, I beg your pardon, maybe we can keep it in English.
No,
Just so that
no.
You will not speak English
Then
as a matter
I'll
of
speak
policy.
only in
हिंदी
Tamil.
के बारे में बात करने
Then
आई
I'll
हूँ।
speak only in Tamil.
I'll speak only in Telugu.
Yeah, I'll speak
Okay,
only in Tamil.
I will leave. इस अपमान को कौन बर्दाश्त करेगा? आखिर मैं भी आपके देश की हूँ और अगर मैं हिंदी
नहीं,
बोलना
the
चाहती
question is
हूँ,
what is
उर्दू
India
बोलना
है
चाहती
इन्होंने
हूँ,
देश
तो
What
आपसे
is a
मना
nation?
ஆனால்
Shall
India
we
है
learn
எல்லா
language?
மொழிகளும்
ये
மொழி.
अंग्रेजी
But
माँ
this
की
is
बात
not
है।
a- this is
अंग्रेजी
only
are
allowed
not
in
our
the- to the
language.
level of the
Our
state.
learn
language.
Hindi and understand you.
No, I am not
When you
I don't
want
even
to learn
understand
Telugu.
you.
forcing. Nobody
Now,
is forcing.
Vikram, I
Can
want
I-
to
this
make
is
a
only
comment.
for
आप
the
अंग्रेजी
level of
बोलते
the
हैं,
point of
किसकी
order,
भाषा
not in
है?
India.
Ma'am,
किसकी
ma'am.
भाषा
This
है?
cannot go like this.
किसकी भाषा है
नहीं,
अंग्रेजी?
नहीं,
किसकी भाषा?
but-
हमारी
हिंदी किसकी भाषा है?
हमारी
संस्कृत किसकी
हिंदी-
भाषा है?
संस्कृत हमारी
My language is 2000 and 3000 years old. It's one of the oldest languages
May
in
I-
the world.
I don't know whose language is
And you
Sanskrit.
do not know my oldest
You
language.
know, when
That is your
Ambedkar
pity.
wanted to learn Sanskrit, no Brahmin Pandit was willing to teach him.
आप कितनी
And he
पुरानी
wanted to
बातों में
learn
जा रहे हैं,
Sanskrit.
दुनिया आगे
They
बढ़
did not
चुकी
teach
है।
us.
Sir,
But
I-
today,
बढ़ चुकी है,
today when
दुनिया
we are
हिंदी पढ़
learning
रही है।
English, these people whose children go to English medium schools, those who are talking about Hindi nationalism, where are their children studying? Are their children studying in Hindi medium schools or in English medium, Saint Anne, Saint Mary, Saint Joseph? Where are they studying?
Okay, so
That's
English.
the point.
बिकॉज
Sir, this debate can
मजबूरी
happen
है
only
इस
if it happens
देश
in
में
English.
आज
No, but-
66 वर्ष
No,
बाद
but you teach your
अपनी
children in English
राष्ट्रभाषा को
medium,
बोली
Can
make them
நீங்க
global.
என்ன பேசுறீங்க?
Oh,
என்ன
you
எனக்கு
occupy
புரியல.
the world.
living in England.
Now you
என்ன
occupy the
பேசுறீங்க?
Can I,
world.
one second. Can the three of you please,
You
can
will
I
be more
declare,
comfortable.
can I declare linguistic
You don't
peace on
understand.
this show?
Let me make one
शांत
point.
No, no,
रहना,
one
मुझे
second.
अपनी बात
Kanchari,
कहने
one second.
आपने बात कहने दे मुझे
चित्रा जी,
नहीं,
आप
चित्रा जी.
तमिलनाडु में तो अपनी बात कहते हैं मुझे भी
चित्रा
बात
जी,
कहने
चित्रा
दे।
जी.
मुझे ही अपनी बात कहने दो
And Tamil வந்து ஒரு global language.
తెలుగు
Tamil is a
మాట్లాడండి,
global
తెలుగు
language today.
మాట్లాడండి.
Can
ఈ
I-
దేశం ఎందుకు అర్థం
can I
కాదు?
जहाँ जो
declare-
बच्चे उपस्थित हैं मैं
Can
उनसे
I
कहना
declare
चाहती हूँ।
linguistic peace here for a moment? Just for a minute. Please, ma'am, sir. Thank you. Thank you. You know, for the sake of this particular debate, I mean, I know you know how to speak Tamil, you can speak in Telugu and you can speak in Hindi, ma'am. This is actually right now,
अंग्रेजी की दास्तान
it's not an up,
नहीं
it's not a, it's not actually an insult, because this channel is an English language channel and so is the show. So if you are speaking in English, it's not an insult to Hindi that we are speaking in English right now. If you did not understand English, ma'am, I would be happy you could speak in Hindi and I'll translate
Yes,
it for you. And if
I
you
can
speak
say
Tamil, I'll get
I
someone to
don't
translate.
understand English and I can leave this program immediately.
Oh, you will refuse to speak in English as a
Yes,
matter of policy.
I'm refusing.
To
ये
speak in
अपमान मैं बर्दाश्त नहीं कर सकती
नहीं,
हूँ।
So
ये
speak-
आप
You know,
मत
for the
बोलिए
sake of
आप मत
convenience,
बोलिए
we will allow it. We will allow it. We will allow it.
आपकी बात
Actually,
सुन-
नहीं, you
This
we will
kind
allow
of-
it.
Fine,
We
let
are-
ma'am-
we are more
I will
nationalists.
allow her to speak in Hindi. I'll translate if we
We
can
are
get
more
somebody to
nationalists.
translate.
We
This
will
is
allow
the
it. Let us
dialogue.
speak in
Otherwise,
Hindi.
we are fighting all the time.
No, we are more nationalists. Let us allow us to speak in Hindi.
You
We
translate it
we
for
will
us.
learn
I'll
all
translate it.
languages.
You
I'll
translate it
We are
for
better
us. We
nationalists
give you
there.
a concession.
Yeah, we will
Okay,
give a
fine.
concession.
Ma'am, ma'am, you can speak in Hindi. I'll translate.
We are
I'll
more
translate.
liberal
I will-
and more
Yes, South
accommodating
Indians are very
than
liberal.
parochial
मैं
and
आपको एक
chauvinists
बात
like you.
कहती हूँ 1650 में ब्रिटेन में फ्रेंच कानून की भाषा थी और लैटिन शिक्षा की भाषा थी 1650 में ब्रिटेन की संसद में वहां के एक याचिका दायर की गई कि हम विदेशी भाषा की गुलामी छोड़ देंगे 1650 में
So, Inka, sorry, why am I
So,
translating it in
now,
Hindi for you? I'm very
Angrezi-
confused now.
One issue
No, no, hang on,
I
hang
was
on.
speaking
I think her
I want
point
somebody
is,
to
her
translate
point
me
is,
from
I
Hindi.
don't
her,
want to
Hindi.
participate if anybody is
All right.
देश की नागरिक होकर मेरा ऐसा अपमान किया जा सकता है
Wait, actually,
हमको
who's
आप
who's
बात
insulting
करें।
you,
தமிழ்ல
ma'am?
பேசிட்டே போலாம்
Ma'am, who's
நம்ம
insulting you right now?
இதே மாதிரி நான்
If you are refusing to speak in English,
அதுக்கு அர்த்தமே கிடையாது மிக சிறப்பான தமிழை என்னால பேச முடியும் இதை விட அதிகமான வரலாற்று
Ma'am,
சான்றுகளோட பேச
we've
முடியும்
sorted this issue out. You're speaking in Hindi. I'm translating for you. Her basic point is why speak in a
Then
foreign
you have to
language.
translate
hang
me
on.
from Tamil to English.
No, I don't speak Tamil.
Yeah,
Please
that's
translate for
my
yourself.
equal right.
Who speaks Tamil?
It's my equal right. I'll
Somebody
speak
who
in
speaks Tamil, help me.
You ask somebody to
क्या
translate
आप
it
लोग
in English.
हिंदी-
All right, one second.
I want to
I
do
also
that.
can exercise
Can
my
I,
right.
can I just break away from this? Let me come to you now for a minute.
Yes, please.
Let me just break away from this. If you'd see where this entire thing came from Lord Macaulay, if you really want to go back in history, when Lord Macaulay came in and he said, I propose we replace her old and ancient education system, her culture, for if the Indians think that all that is foreign and English is good and greater than their own, they will lose their self-esteem, their native self-culture, and they will become what we want them to be, a truly dominated nation. So I'm quoting from Lord Macaulay's famous Minute on Indian Education, 1835, which I suspect is substantially the point that she's making, that if you're speaking in English, you're really falling into what was the original imperialistic design. Now, the flip side to that is really that a lot of time has passed since then. Yes. And 180 years later, our ability to speak English, and I'm sure you must be having many of your students saying this, is actually a source of strength for us. Would you agree with that?
When we say that we speak in English or we speak in Tamil or Telugu or Hindi and we also want to learn some other language, it does not mean that we are disrespecting our own language. It really does not mean that. In schools, we are telling our children that they must respect diversity. that's what we are all about. We are a diverse nation, and there is a diversity. So while we accept that there is a mother tongue for us, it could be Hindi, it could be Tamil, it could be Telugu, we will embrace other languages also.
Okay.
Because as you very rightly said, a lot of time has passed by, you know, and we have now developed that maturity to be able to respect what is ours, to be able to preserve what is ours, to be culturally rooted, and yet at the same time
And
be
yet
able to
comfortable
embrace
in a global
others.
setup.
Absolutely.
All right, fair enough. Kanchalaya, just on that point that you were making about the languages and emancipation, I'm going to come in a second or two to Manish Sabharwal on this. Seeing as I am quoting from the past, let me just quote from Mahatma Gandhi as well, who said, "I do not object to your learning English for the sake of acquiring knowledge or for the sake of earning your livelihood," which is substantially the point that you're making. But Mahatma Gandhi went on to say, "But I object to your giving so much importance to English and giving a low place to your national language, Hindi. I do not think it is right on your part to use it in your conversation with your friends and relatives any other language than your national language or your mother tongue," before we again end up in a linguistic row out here. Mahatma Gandhi also said, "or your mother tongue. Have love for your own language." What would be your take on that? He says, learn English,
Vikram,
use it to earn a livelihood, but when you're talking at home, when you're talking to your friends, when you're speaking it, use your own national language or use your mother tongue. In case you're not sure
Vikram,
national language.
even from the days of Gandhi to present, what happened is the Indian elite have gone into English, and in terms of caste, they happen to be upper caste. Now, the reactionary step of taking the whole discourse in politics vis-a-vis the market started with Mulayam Singh, who is unfortunately a backward class leader, as I am. And that has traversed to, Bihar, where Lalu Prasad, as a first generation man, cannot speak in English. Nitish cannot speak. And today, the present Prime Minister is also a backward class man, cannot comfortably speak in English. Therefore, they are
And that's
making
true of the other
English-
leaders of the BJP as well.
No,
Many of them are
many,
not comfortable
not
in
many.
English.
See, you see BJP, Arun Jaitley, Advani,
Some do,
and
some
all
others,
these.
yeah.
All
Only
generation
you can
leaders.
speak
The
English.
point is,
Only you can speak
no, what,
English very
just
well
a minute,
now,
just
no.
a minute. What we are saying is that let English be the language of all children along with mother tongue from tribal areas, from Gully to Delhi. And then all Indians speak English along with the rest of the elite who have a hypocritical stand that they say my mother tongue is Hindi, they send their children to English medium schools.
Manish Sabharwal, the essential point being made by Kanchalaya, and to what extent is this true? Because again, if you look at statistics, it does seem to be borne out to some extent that people who are really comfortable in English, I was seeing one study a short while back which said, one study, for example, which I was seeing, said that something like 34% extra livelihood. The salaries of people who speak English fluently can be up to 34% more than people who don't speak English fluently. So in today's job market, is there a premium which comes from being really comfortable in English?
Yes.
And I'm talking about now within the country. Obviously, if you're going abroad, then it's an extra advantage.
From an economic perspective, English is like Windows. It's an operating system. Your employment outcomes are 300% higher if you speak English. And that is related to the geography of work in India. Are we going to take people to jobs, or are we going to take jobs to people? So if we're going to take people to jobs, your labor mobility is 300% higher. A migrant from UP and Bihar gets 5,000 rupees a month because he joins as a packer and loader. And a migrant from the northeast gets 10,000 rupees a month with me because he joins the front office. So an unintended consequence of the Baptists going to the northeast is that migrants get 2 times more salary. So I think the argument for English is based clinically on it being an operating system. It is the operating language of business. In a country with 22 languages, you need an operating system. English has become that default system. Obviously, the argument for English is not only English. The argument is to be multilingual. I mean, Firag Gorakhpuri and Harivansh Rai Bachchan were great poets in Urdu and Hindi, but they were professors of English literature in Allahabad University.
Sometimes talk about discrimination against people from the northeast, and it's worried us here. He says that actually people from the northeast sometimes get much higher salaries than people coming from Uttar Pradesh or Bihar because they're more comfortable in English.
You see,
Especially in a globalized India, software industry, with all of that
see,
area.
to put it correctly, the correct position is that it is not that the other countries of the world are not using their software in Chinese or in other languages. Software is available in every language of each and every country of the world. The only reason why they are talking about English is that English has become now the internationally linked language.
Right.
And linked language means that a person coming from any part of the world, in addition to knowing his own mother tongue, whether it is a Chinese or a French or any other language, is able to communicate and better understand each other in English.
But doesn't that give, isn't that what also gives India an advantage? Because here we have a situation where we have 40 to 50 million people who are extremely comfortable in English, and so in a globalized world it gives us an edge.
Now you're
India,
talking in a
what's the
different
one
perspective.
thing that people say India is better off than China? We
You
have
see,
people who are more comfortable in English than
Mr.
China.
Kancha Elayya just now said, he spoke in respect of Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav. And that is the point which really alarms me. The fact is that neither the Samajwadi Party nor Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav has ever said this, that English should not be learnt, people should not study English, they should not work in English. The only thing that has been said by him, which is probably, I want to put the record straight today for all times to come, that what he has said is that if you are trying to ask for votes in a particular language, in a particular region, like my friend from Tamil Nadu, from Andhra, the people go and seek for votes in the regional languages. Like a leader of the BJP recently went to Amritsar and was talking Punjabi for seeking votes. Therefore, when he comes to the parliament, he starts talking in a different language.
But there's a reason for that. I think the reason for that is you have to have a language with which you communicate, and at the end of the day, what are the possible linked languages in India that you use to communicate with
Therefore,
people? I agree, English is not necessarily one of them, not that many people
Therefore,
speak
I
English.
would like to finish in one sentence, that what we want to say is we don't disrespect any language. Rather, we want to say that, I'll say a couplet of Hindi in this, that for all those people who are learning other languages, including English, सीख तो ली तुमने लपक कर आगे बढ़कर अंग्रेजी जुबान, सीख तो ली तुमने लपक कर आगे बढ़कर अंग्रेजी जुबान, डर है कहीं गूंगा ना हो जाए हिंदुस्तान.
Okay. Now, I'll tell you one of the issues.
Please. You see, you have learned English by taking a high jump. But the fact is that there is all possibility that India can become dumb.
No.
Because without English, it is not. You see, when Chinese can talk in Chinese, when French can talk in French, and other countries, people from other nationalities can talk in their countries, why can't we talk in Hindi?
Okay, hang on.
I am with him in this point. I want to emphasize one important thing. When we from Tamil Nadu are saying, don't impose Hindi on us, it does not mean we want to give up Tamil for English either.
No, we do.
Please, let us be very clear about it. Let us not confuse issues.
Yes, correct. You're
These
right.
are totally different issues.
Yes,
we are
absolutely.
confusing two, three
Absolutely.
issues together here.
Absolutely.
Right.
Issue is, we are for mother tongue everywhere. We are for Marathi, we are for Gujarati, we are for Hindi. We
that
are
is already
that
provided in
extent
the
you are
constitution.
And
So you are
and
agreeing
that
with
is already
Chakravarti.
provided in the
We are not
constitution.
opposing
At all. All that we are saying is we need English as a link language for communication between us. That is the only possible link language we can have. We don't believe that Hindi can be a link language throughout India.
Now can I tell you, however, now this is where the Tamil and Hindi point is slightly different. If you take the starting point for a link language, if you look at the latest, I think I'm looking at the 2001 census, where of course we'll get updated figures. 41% speak Hindi, give or take. 8% speak Bengali. If you speak Bengali, is close enough to Hindi, they'll probably be able to understand it. 7% speak Marathi, they'll probably be able to understand Hindi. 5% Gujarati, 5% Urdu, they'll be able to speak Hindi. So they're about 50 to 60% of the population right now, which can, maybe more, could be as high as 70%, which can more or less understand Hindi. So if there's a link language that has to come, if you're saying Hindi is a link language, then 60-70% already speak it. Now the flip side of that is that there are some people like in Tamil Nadu and others who are not comfortable with it at all, who are therefore at a disadvantage. With English, everyone is at an equal disadvantage. So they are two slightly separate points.
There is the difference.
So 60-70% people will speak.
Here claiming that Hindi represents about 60 to 70% of the population itself is a very dubious one, where you are kind of mowing down all the different dialects. Maithili, Bhojpuri, they are all languages of their own right.
They'll be able to understand some Hindi.
For that matter, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam are similar. There are lots of commonalities between Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam and Kannada. We don't mow down everybody and say all of you only speak Tamil or speak only Malayalam.
No,
we don't say
I
that.
just make
sir,
one
We don't
point.
say that. They belong
Can I-
to the
can I
Dravidian
just-
group of languages. Even
Can I
Marathi
just-
is a Dravidian language.
चित्रा जी, so जहां तक बात अगर हो रही है, मैं आपसे हिंदी में ही बात करूंगा, I'll translate myself for you as well, कि अगर लोग कह रहे हैं कि देखिए जो आपका पॉइंट था कि अंग्रेजी एक विदेशी भाषा है, अंग्रेजों ने आके हम पर थोपी, अगर लोगों को अपनी मातृभाषा बोलने का अधिकार है तो जो तमिलनाडु में है वो तमिल बोलेंगे, महाराष्ट्र में है वो मराठी बोलेंगे, बंगाल में है वो बंगाली बोलेंगे। अब अगर एक दूसरे से बात करनी है किसी को, अगर आपको यहां बात करनी है तो कौन सी भाषा में बात करें? क्योंकि अगर आप तमिलनाडु के लोगों से कहेंगे कि आपको हिंदी में बात करनी है तो वो आपसे कह सकते हैं कि आप तमिल में बात करिए।
नहीं, जब वो हिंदी नहीं समझते हैं, कई दफे एयरपोर्ट पर उतरने के बाद या ट्रेन से उतरने के बाद कोई नहीं समझता है हिंदी, तो कोई बात नहीं, उसको हम अंग्रेजी में समझाते हैं। तमिल में भी छोटे मोटे वाक्य बोल लेते हैं। तो कहने का अर्थ ये है कि असहिष्णुता जिस तरह का दिखाई है इन्होंने, मुझे लगता है ये गलत ट्रैक पर ले जाएगा।
What she's essentially saying is that you should not lose touch with your, in a sense she's not disagreeing with you, you should not lose touch with your mother tongue,
Everyone.
you should not lose touch with your basic culture,
Yes.
you should not give that up for a foreign language. Now let me ask you this.
All
and
of us
as a
agree on that.
As a principal of a school, you must be seeing this, and as a parent I get concerned about this all the time, that many of us will have children who in the first 1, 2, 3 years they'll all speak their mother tongue, but after a certain point they become more comfortable in English, especially if they're in schools like Sanskriti and the others. They become more comfortable in English. If you lose touch with your mother tongue completely because you're only comfortable in English, does that not also put you at a disadvantage?
This is a real situation in schools. This is there. This is a problem that we have to kind of grapple with, and we have to find a solution to. Like I said earlier, we have to create that respect, love for your mother tongue first. That's very important. Now, but it is happening in schools. You are absolutely right that once they have reached a particular stage, they are more comfortable in English.
But ma'am, can I just also take you a little forward on that? And I'll tell you one of the reasons why I suspect that might be happening, and we all then should find answers to that, which is that if you look at what they're reading, what they're talking to each other's in, it's all in English. And sometimes when we try and teach children Hindi, it's in really difficult, Sanskritized, slightly boring, sort of preachy type language. So it becomes like medicine. It's not something that they enjoy doing.
It's not very.
The language of fun is English.
English, that's right.
And and Hindi or other mother tongues become the language which you're being preached at, and that's the reason why children get turned off.
Just for the sake of this argument, let's take just Hindi. I only take Hindi as an example. Children do what he's saying is very right. They're not reading in Hindi, and he's very right that there's not enough very child-friendly literature available in Hindi. Well, it's happening now. We have been now seeing more and more such literature coming in the market. People are writing more child-friendly stuff in Hindi, sorry. And the schools have a responsibility now to ensure that the children start reading, start talking, and start giving respect to that language. What has unfortunately happened in schools is, in the past few years, is that any child who's not able to converse very well in English, has come from a small town, speaks, converses in Punjabi or in a Hindi which is a little different from what they speak, those children get subjected to a lot of jibes and a lot of fun, it happens at their expense. This is the culture which needs to undergo a change in schools. And if it happens in schools, we will not be having this kind of argument over here. It does not mean that we will not give emphasis to English.
No, I
we
just
will
make
give
one
emphasis
small
to
point.
English.
How did
just
you
make
no,
one
one thing. Manish, just want to ask you one thing. As you were saying, and as Kancha Lai was also saying, that knowing English is so important in the job market. But if you don't know Hindi, or if you're in Tamil Nadu, you don't know Tamil, or whatever the local languages, you again will struggle. So maybe we do have to move to a situation where we have to figure out how we can effectively make people far more bilingual or trilingual or multilingual in some manner. Isn't that also a disadvantage, not knowing Hindi, not knowing the mother tongue?
I mean, English is a vocational skill. I mean, I know there's a lot of emotion around language, but from my perspective, the two most important decisions a child in India makes are to choose your parents wisely and to choose your PIN code wisely. And I think it's important to recognize that English is like windows.
Fine.
Vikram, I
Kancha,
just
I'll-
add one point. See, it also has a relationship with what is known as politics of language. Now, if the Indian elite from A to Z talks about regional language as national language, whether Hindi, Tamil, whatever, but the elite sends its children to English medium, not
That is the issue.
English medium. Now, I don't know what Chitraji's children are, or our grandchildren are. If they send to English medium, it means that you are asking the government schools to be in the regional languages, whether Hindi or Tamil or Telugu. And the poorest of the poor, today whom we are talking about, are forced to be in the regional language in the name of mother tongue and nation. And this ruling class, which is deceptive, sends its children to English medium, makes them global. This is nonsense. We will fight
Vikram, I
it.
want to add here.
We will
Vikram,
fight
before they
it.
reply,
These
I
are
want to add here.
hypocrites, these are anti-nationals, and these are anti-people.
Chitraji, you haven't even asked Chitraji.
Vikram,
whether
I
she-
want to add here.
Chitraji?
Please don't say like that.
No, no,
You are
not
such
you,
a,
not
like
you.
intellectual person, you shouldn't say like that.
No, no, no.
Please,
Anyway, he made you speak
We
in
have a
English.
reason. We
He
have our
made you
children.
speak in English.
Dalit children, tribal
Finally,
children.
you cannot force
Do you
me.
know they are
He
good
made you
and
speak in
regional
English now.
languages.
You cannot force me.
He
As
made
you are
it-
saying
No,
that
but
Hindi
but
has
he
forced,
made you
you
speak in
cannot
English
You as
now.
a
force
Hindi
me.
lover, can you
Why
send
you
your
want to
children
tell
to
me?
Hindi
You
medium?
have
Why
to get
you want
rid
to
of your
tell
finger
English
because you have to speak.
Hindi medium is the best. Are you sending your grandchildren?
आपको क्या लगता है तेलुगु में अब तेलुगु पढ़ेंगे बच्चे, तेलुगु पढ़ेंगे, वहाँ अंग्रेजी का जो आपने जलवा क्रिएट किया है, आपकी नीतियां ऐसी रही हैं, आपने स्वाभिमान नाम की कोई
No, but
चीज
then
नहीं
why are
है।
you denying the poor? Why are you denying the government schools?
इनका एक लिमिट, इनका एक पॉइंट था कि ये गलत होगा कि अगर हम कहेंगे कि देखिए गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स में हिंदी मीडियम होनी चाहिए, पर जो एलीट हैं वो अपने बच्चों को इंग्लिश मीडियम में भेजें।
वो इनके जैसे ही लोग हैं।
अच्छा, आप नहीं मानेंगे
नहीं, आप क्या करें? आपका चिल्ड्रन बोलिए।
क्योंकि मजबूर हमारे
देखिए,
children-
मुझे चिल्ड्रन नहीं है।
आप
Unfortunately, I'm not
अपने
married
बच्चों
like
की बात
Prime
कीजिए, मेरे
Minister.
बच्चों की बात मत
But what about her
Please,
children if she has?
please, you
Vikram.
can, you don't.
Okay,
Vikram, I have
we are
a
getting
point-
personal.
Prime Minister,
Okay.
I have a point to
No,
make.
no,
on
I
this.
have a one
Don't
point.
tell
that
him.
Mulayam
Let him make
Singh-
his point,
Please,
Mr.
see,
Malaya,
when
you will
Mulayam
make a point.
Singh- just 1 minute. When Mulayam Singh said that Hindi is the basic Indian language and the nation has to speak Hindi, and that they forgot that there are other languages, 22 languages.
Okay.
India is not China. Secondly, his own
Aठवीं-
son, who is chief minister today,
आठवीं अनुसूची
I will
studied in
reply.
Australia.
Wait, I'll reply.
His own son studied in Australia. They have not opened a single English medium school
लेकिन
in
उनका
government
son
school
बहुत अच्छी
in
हिंदी
Uttar
बोलता
Pradesh.
है।
Whereas in Andhra Pradesh, we fought 6,400 English medium schools in
Okay.
government sector.
Now, what you are telling, Mr. Kanchaiya, is absolutely unfounded, untrue.
How many English medium
I am giving
schools
you an
you have?
answer. Just wait. Have a little
English
patience. Wait.
medium.
You see, what is it? Mulayam Singh has never said regarding your language or his language which should not be used. Let me complete.
But
I
how
heard you.
many government English
forget.
medium schools
You
you
see,
have?
government English medium schools, if there are no students who can compete in those two schools, how can you run those government schools which are not able to?
No.
Vikram,
You see, you need to be able to. You see,
60% of
Sir,
rural
I think I
children
need
are
to
going
speak.
to
Mr.
private
Sankar-
English medium.
No, no.
Kanchaiya, give
No.
Mr. Sankar
Gnani
a
has
chance
to
now.
see, the issue really is the medium of instruction.
Yeah.
We have been advocating in Tamil Nadu, a lot of us writers, intellectuals there have been advocating that the medium of instruction should be only in mother tongue and English should be taught to everybody as a language. We confuse medium of instruction
But
with
sir,
language.
No,
That is
Vikram,
the
I
real
need to
issue.
tell you one
All
thing.
the schools.
That is the real issue.
I need to
But
finish.
even in Tamil
Sir,
Nadu,
sir,
his
please.
point is, even in Tamil Nadu, the elites will send their children to
I'll
English
tell you
medium
what,
schools.
I had to look for a school to send my son when he went to +2. After 10th standard, he had to go to +2. He wanted to study photography. There was not a single school which taught photography in +2. There was finally only one school which taught that in Tamil medium in government-run corporation school.
And you sent him there?
I sent him there. He studied for 2 years.
Okay, Mr.
and
Kanchaiya, he is not a hypocrite.
Listen,
You see,
listen.
Vikram,
I have to finish
I
it.
want to
One
make a
second,
point.
sir.
Yeah.
No, but I have
Today-
a point to make.
Yeah,
today-
she wants to speak about in favor of English
Please
medium
I,
schools.
no, I just want to ask one question. You're
Let me
right
finish.
that you speak.
You can-
Let us speak.
No,
I'll
it's a
finish.
question which I want to
will
ask
finish the
you.
point.
Okay, let him finish his point, then I'll get you
Yes.
to finish your point.
After sending him to that school, he completed photography, learned cinematography. He moved to Mumbai. He never learned Hindi earlier. Stayed in Mumbai, lived for 5 years in Mumbai. learnt Hindi. Today he is a cinematographer in Hindi films. Right now a cinematographer for Shah Rukh Khan's film.
Wow.
So that is
My
possible.
son,
That is
because he
possible.
didn't study Hindi in school at all.
So okay,
He
so
didn't
no, hang on,
study
hang on.
Hindi in
There's
school
a
at
very
all.
one thing. So
And he was
there's a very
cinematographer
important
for
message.
Chennai Express.
So
He knows the present one. Happy New Year.
No, was he for Chennai Express?
That next one.
I mean, look at this.
No, what I'm
He
trying to
deserted-
say is,
The ongoing.
No,
He
what I'm
deserted-
trying to say is,
He deserted Rajnikant
No,
sir
no, but
to go and work in a Shah Rukh Khan film.
let me
Hereby meeting Rajnikant sir once Narendra Modi won the entire
But he
election by
learned
landslide
photography
margin.
through Tamil.
No.
No, in
Vikram.
Chennai,
Hang on.
no,
Ma'am, you had a point. One other thing. You have a point to make.
Schools, English medium or not?
No,
That-
I want to
Please,
just
please,
ask one
please,
question.
please,
If you're
ma'am.
saying that you know that the medium of instruction should be the mother tongue, what do you do in a school where you have children from all regions? What language are you going to use over there?
there are-
I'm telling you, in schools
I'm
there
taking up
are.
a different question.
I-
Yes,
Schools
you
are
are absolutely right.
No,
schools
there
are
are
very
schools.
limited in number.
No, but whatever.
That they are
No,
very
no.
limited in
No,
number.
but you cannot
Last
say
year-
something.
But she
we
has
have
a
to talk
point.
about.
She has a point. Okay, now can I take a break?
You know,
Can I
we
take a
have
break?
children from every region, you know, and they come from various places.
And so you
No,
have
no,
to
what
find
not
out.
every
do I
So
use?
it comes back to the issue. So,
Only
ma'am, one minute.
in schools, one school has such
Can
children.
I
Yeah,
can I
that's-
take
no,
a
so
break?
The
that's
corporate education.
So that's why, you know, we.
So,
it's
how
a-
many schools are there like that? Give them an exclusive.
You see, if
No,
they,
I'm
they
not
have a right
talking
to
about
propagate
numbers,
about
I'm talking
Tamil
about
Nadu
the-
and
Okay.
Andhra
Can I-
Pradesh, we come from UP, why can't we talk about Hindi then?
Okay.
No, you talk about Hindi, but don't talk about us also as
No,
a
but we
nation.
are not stopping you from learning Hindi, learning English. What right do you have to stop us from speaking Hindi?
Definitely not.
You know, can I
Where is
say
the,
something
where is
now?
the big fight about?
I am not stopping you from learning Hindi.
No, and one
I
more
Can
want
I-
you to learn
gentlemen,
Hindi.
Seeing
one
as
more
everyone's
point.
going on talking, not allowing me to speak, I have to take a break now.
No,
Just
and one more point I want
can
to talk
Ma'am, can I
about.
press the pause button just for 2 minutes? After that, we'll continue after the break. But a couple of interesting points that have come out so far, and I want to take up something that you said. As your son went to Mumbai, learnt Hindi voluntarily,
By sheer
by
work
choice.
culture.
How can
So
he
actually-
learn that?
he
He
learned-
may be doing Hindi.
No, he learned it from the lightman. Lightman is what he had been working.
He learned Hindi.
it
Okay.
over a
So
period
if
of
you
5
don't
years,
impose
he
something,
What is
I'll
Hindi?
tell you
is
what
the
it is.
solution.
Terrible Hindi
There are
कहेंगे तो
millions
problem
of
हो जाएगा.
Jharkhand
Don't-
workers,
ये बहुत
Chhattisgarh
problem है,
workers,
यहाँ political
Nepali
चल रहा
workers
है.
working in Tamil Nadu right now. Did they learn Tamil and come to Tamil Nadu?
आपको पता
No,
है
they
तमिलनाडु
all
के
come to Tamil
writers
Nadu.
जो हैं,
They have no
उन्होंने
jobs in
तमिल में
Chhattisgarh,
लिखना
they have
बंद
no
कर दिया,
jobs in
अंग्रेजी में
Nepal.
लिखना शुरू कर दिया।
see,
ये
the-
जो
Can I-
writer है,
Nepal.
आज
I'll never gonna end up-
2000 वर्ष पुराना
Okay,
साहित्य
we are back to square
है,
one.
उनको articles
I
दो,
actually
My
think-
most brilliant Hindi teacher has come from
No,
Chennai. She's
learning
a
is one
Tamilian.
thing, medium of instruction is another thing.
As
That
to
is
medium
politics
of
of
instruction
language.
as
You
to
know, the
mother tongue.
interesting thing, when I used to do election programming in 1996 and in 2001, our anchor used to be the best in Hindi among all of us was actually from Tamil Nadu. So,
Yeah, my most brilliant Hindi teacher.
We
is
can
so
all
if you
have
don't
different
impose
languages.
languages on
That is no
people,
problem.
perhaps that's what
possible.
the solution is. I'm going to get the audience in when we come back after this break.